Why are poor families mostly at odds? To tell a solid truth, the rich basically never get mentally inwardly involved with their own families. But the poor people are often out of the heart to outsiders, to the family caddy. Poor people's homes are often filled with conflicts between husband and wife, parents, children, and so on. Poor people's families from the surface of the most lack of money. But if you look at it from the cognitive point of view, what they lack most is that they simply do not understand the logic of the family and all things prosper. People who grow up in poor families, due to the long term in the poor and no cognitive nutrition environment. As a result, the vast majority of people in the family have no emotional value, and then this concept of no emotional value continues to be passed on from generation to generation. Many parents of poor families still maintain the idea of crying poverty when things go wrong. Unbelievable behaviors that infinitely degrade and suppress their children and partners. When it comes to the smallest things, they are quick to get up in arms and lash out in anger. All these behaviors are asking for emotional value from their family members to satisfy their own desires. In every conflict, they invariably expect their children or significant other to provide them with absolute quality emotional value in the form of a bowed head, to fill the black hole of desire within themselves. The whole time the conflict is going on, even if they occasionally get the upper hand, they are going to keep venting their demands. What's worse, whether it's a child who grew up in this kind of family atmosphere, or the significant other who is at odds with their own perceptions and literacy, it is basically impossible for them to create more valuable emotions out of thin air so as to divert the conflict, which in turn results in the birth of yet more and more resentment. For example, I've been putting up with this for a long time, and I'm suffering inside, and I have a belly full of anger that I want to take out. Even if the grievance endurance calms down this time, it will not really dissolve the powder keg of emotions in the end. In addition to mutual internal friction, burning and explosion, there is no other way to until the conflict erupts again under the constant pressure. The big flaw in poor families is that they often don't reflect on or realize the emotional black holes in themselves. Instead, they often turn around and blame their own families. Children from poor families are often accused by their parents of being bad-tempered and unable to speak. Parents also always expect their children to smile no matter how they treat them. Under the constant rendering and education of parents, when the children grow up and enter the society, only to realize that they are just a replica of their parents, with a weak character and low double quotient. But fortunately, after the child grows up and separates from the family for a period of time, they can instead gradually realize their own shortcomings. Because there is no more black hole of emotional value, do not ask for emotional value from others, so most of them can instead gradually realize their own shortcomings. In terms of treating others, their own cognitive thoughts will also slowly change. Poor families are always demanding of their own family members, even some unrealistic hopes. In fact, it is because of the beginning of the cognitive difference is not big enough to put together. Both financial and cognitive have been difficult to downwardly compatible. These basic conditions are also destined to inevitably not find a partner who fills their emotional black hole. Children from poor families are not aware that they are subjected to their parents' cranky moods every day at home. Outside the home, they are also likely to be subjected to the contempt and ridicule of others. Because for a long time there are no cognitively high people to take the paradigm influence to educate them on how to provide effective thinking, logic, and emotional value. So they can only move farther and farther away from objectivity and tolerance in their parents' complaints and unrealistic fantasies. The closer you are, the darker you are. In a family, the partner and the children are often a mirror. No matter how much a clumsy person shines the mirror, the odds are that what comes out is also a clumsy person. And they will blame each other in a never-ending cycle of blaming each other. The truth of human nature remains the same for millennia, and the sooner the cognitive awakening occurs, the better.